Okay, good day, guys. Good day to you all. Welcome back. Welcome back. I think I'm live. I think I'm live. Hold on.
Have you kept it on private or did you hit broadcast?
Yeah, I'm live. I'm live. I'm live. I'm live. Yep, I am live. All right, guys. I actually scheduled this live quite a while ago, but man plan and God wipe. Seeing so we here now for like what over an hour now. Me schedule the live, yeah, Crystal.
You
But
gotta take your time with certain things, don't you? So better late than never, but you know, you're here now, so
yeah, we were just kind of experiencing some streaming challenges. So
hmm.
it's good that we're up and running now. You're hearing me well and seeing me well, right, Crystal?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. Again, sorry for the late start to the stream. So we're gonna be dissecting something very, very, very important, and that is the eagerly anticipated Nations League squad, and this squad would have dropped yesterday. I think it was the oh God, what is Earl Bailey's official post again at the JFF?
A press officer.
Press officer, yeah. So he dropped the squad yesterday, and we're gonna be chopping it up, right about now. A squad that many people don't really seem to be excited about this particular squad. But then again, when a reggae boy squad ever drop and people, generally are excited, everybody of course when a reggae boy squad drop. Quickly though, I haven't had Crystal on my channel to speak about the Catalonia game. Many people still talking about it. Many people still you know, feel very down about it. Crystal, what do you think? You watched the game. I was on your watch along. What you thought about that whole debacle? For want of a better word.
It's just like I said, I went into that game, with all due respect, I didn't really care too much about the outcome. Win, lose,
Mm-hmm.
draw. I wasn't really concerned about the outcome. I was more concerned about whether or not the players would take the opportunity that's presented to them, whether they would give Paul Hall something to think about when it comes to making those all important call ups for the CONCACAF Nations League, and whether or not he felt as the head coach, whether looking at the players, if he felt that there are any players there that could fit into what he currently has in terms of his system, his formation, his style of play for the senior team.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, I think it's safe to say that we've reached a crossroad where the majority of the fans are largely impatient to, I guess you could say, no fault of their own. So what that means is when a new player comes into the team, essentially that player, regardless of league that they play in and quality, they are expected to fit into the puzzle, the jigsaw, like a missing puzzle. So I'm just hoping that whatever Paul Hall saw on display in the Nations League suited his liking. Maybe a few players managed to get him to scratch his head a bit, but based off what we've seen with the call up, perhaps not. But then again, there are three additional names that's set to be added to the team, so who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I dropped a video by the way. Yo, me just a look on a comment. Cause me in my backstage studio. I dropped a video talking about how well Maggie played in the Catalonia game. Seen?
Yeah.
Somebody say post a comment couple minutes ago saying Formula, stop tell Lion you what ball game did he play yesterday against Catalonia? You're just uttering rubbish.
Before I go along, I've just scanned through the questions. Big up yourself, Mr. Malik Mills. Hope you're in good health. You're in. I hope the weather's treating you nice over in the States. So good evening to the guys in the comment section, and good evening to yourself, Malik, Travis as well, and a couple of the other guys with familiar names. Um, I've noticed that when you say one or two things, you tend to like rub people up the wrong way, formula. But people have to remind themselves that football is a game of opinions. We all read the
Yeah,
game differently. So if you saw
yeah,
something in McGee and people are disagreeing, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong or they're
yeah,
wrong.
or they
People read
are
the games
wrong. Yeah,
differently.
yeah. But my thing is, everybody has been talking about it.
About McGee,
Yeah, I was watching Sports Max,
yeah.
and they said the same thing too. The lady on Sports Max, Maria Ramnarak, she said the same thing too. That Maggie would have caught the eye, and George Davis said that we didn't see anything from Maggie in that game that we haven't seen already. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it's about two comments under my video I dropped earlier today. Where guys hit me up in the comment section, right? That's the good thing about lives, it's interactive, and me alone think Maggie had a very good game against Catalonia. Want to know, tell me what you think about. I thought Maggie was our best outfield performer and that he, did well. And especially relatively speaking under the circumstances, right? So hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about his particular performance. Javon plays, big up boss, big up Javon. I say my belly hurt me, my head hurt me. Yeah, honestly though, it never as rough as other bad beatings that we have got in previous games during a crystal. For me personally, because we never really the ball. Let me tell you, defensively we were poor. Defensively and defensive transition, we were obviously very poor. But I think that according to the run of play, we did relatively okay in attack and in attacking transition, which is a massive positive for me because especially dealing with the Catalan press, I thought was very impressive. A Catalan press is not a joke press, it's not an easy press to I mean big teams have struggled against Catalan presses. So but he never that bad. Well, no, it's a 6-0. He did bad. He did bad.
Good evening, Wayne, and again, guys in the comment section. Now just chiming on what you've said, Formula. I think people have to also take the context into consideration in terms of looking at the game for what it is, looking at the team for what it is, and if we look at the facts, then obviously we can't be too harsh of our criticism of the players. Like it would have been foolish of us as the 12th man to expect these guys who have just been drafted together to go out there and blow us out the water. It was never going to happen. Not just because they're up against the Catalonia side, who obviously this is essentially like Spain's B team. That has nothing to do with it at all. First of all, we have to look at our own facts, and the facts of the matter is these players are like complete strangers to each other as a collective. So there goes the fundamental basics of going into any match, be it competitive or friendly. You need to have the bare minimum, which is synergy. Players need to be familiar with each other, but there was none of that before the whistle had been blown, and we knew that as well. So I know in the grand scheme of things, 6-0 is a thrashing. But when you strip it all back and look at the facts for what it is, and look at where we are as a team, and look at the players who have been drafted in, multiple players making their debut, it's really like what were you guys are expecting? It would have been humiliating had we not had a what I would call man of the match performance from Barnes. Because like I said on my live stream, this could easily have got into double figures if we're being honest with ourselves. Then perhaps we could say it's a little bit humiliating, but even then we can't ignore the facts. The fact of the matter is this is a team that is unfamiliar with each other. So we can't really be too harsh with our criticism, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, many would argue though on the flip side, though, Krista. Sorry, I know we soon get to the Nations League squad, guys. No worry yourself. We soon chop up the Nations League squad. Just, good old friends catching up here. Um, by the way, wanna knock up the like button, man. People, me not go bother no up like Ryan, you know. Me not go,
Ryan don't play with
Ryan,
his like button.
Ryan will shoot, you know, if you not like up him likes button. Me not go
Remember.
bad no them way there. But me just ask a small little favor, you know, free and easy way to support the channel. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you know, and you like the content, you know, feel free to subscribe. Many people would argue on the flip side, though, Crystal, that Catalonia is a team that is not regularly assembled either. And that's when the whole talk of a system comes into play,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I'll never forget this, right? I'll never forget this. I remember watching an interview with Coque, you know, the Spaniard midfielder, Coque.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something very interesting in the interview, right? When the interviewer asked him how easy was it, you know, coming into the Spain setup, because if you remember so right, he was like relatively new to the senior team setup at that point when he did the interview. And
Mm-hmm.
he said it wasn't difficult, it was easy, it was like one, two, three. Because growing up in Spain, the tiki-taka system and the respective roles and functions of the various positions,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the patterns of play and the patterns of movement, that sort of thing. It was drilled in them, it was instilled in them.
Yeah.
They grew up in it. So
Yeah.
when him sets a bomb now and landing at the national team, him did don't already know what to do. Him never need to get acclimatized or anything like that. Him just
Mm-hmm.
ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we don't have a national system.
No, we don't. And that's why that's why sometimes really, like I said, it's so many times that particularly on my live stream, that sometimes we have to just admit that we expect too much of our team, way too much. Like even if some people jump the limb, jump the gun, and they overhype the players, not downplaying individual playing ability or quality, but sometimes we overhype our own players or ignore the obvious red flags that's right in front of us that suggest that we're not going to have things our own way, or we're not at the level that we may think we're at as a 12 man. Going back to your comment with regards to um, the Catalonia team not playing regularly together, that's a given for any team that plays at international level. They're always going to be limited to the number of games they play with each other in comparison to the club team. That is the reason why regular friendlies and camps are essential in terms of building that all important synergy. I just think that when you look at the obvious there, where we can safely say that our team is completely unfamiliar with each other, that is a huge factor as to why we saw what we saw against Catalonia. And to be honest with you, the there's obviously it was a one man show, wasn't it? With Gerard Deulofeu there getting the a hat trick that he deserves, by the way. Pretty much a one man show for him. I was keeping an eye on Cucurella and just saying that I wanted the boys to kind of stifle him out and not let him get into his stride, because he's another player that could grab the game by the scruff of the neck and so on. But we can't really compare teams like Catalonia, just like you said there. Again, people ignore the basics. Like Formula basically just hit the nail on the head. He said with these teams, there is an obvious identity there. There's an obvious philosophy, a obvious DNA. You know what you're getting into when you go into those teams. Those are the teams I go back to when I say that when you call up a player, if you have the appropriate system and appropriate what do you want to call it, appropriate system or appropriate philosophy, pending that your scouting team does an excellent job, any player that you call up to the national team should fit in like a missing puzzle for your jigsaw. But I'm not even convinced that we're at that level yet. That's why I'm saying that we can't, as the 12th man, we cannot ignore the obvious red flags. People jump over the obvious red flags and then be disappointed with the results. At this point, it's probably safe to say it's not the team that's disappointing you, it's you that's disappointing yourself, because you're ignoring the obvious for what we are. And a lot of people, like I said so many times before, a lot of people overhype our team overhype individual quality, overhype us as collectives, and in the end they're left disappointed. But sometimes you can only blame the disappointment on yourself because you're not looking at the team for what it is. Sometimes people I guess you could call it I'm thinking of the word blinded, but I'm trying to find another word to 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 go with it. But just ignoring the complete obvious is basically what I'm trying to say. And yeah, so sometimes we have to kind of like just say that disappointment. You set yourself up for failure. You set yourself up to be disappointed because you're not paying attention to what's in front of you clearly.
Yeah. Me I try to forget this Nations League squad up on the thing, but me don't know how I go on today. Like yo, everything I go wrong today. Like
I'm trying to
eh,
think.
let's
I might
see.
have to log into my system so I can tell you how to do it because I've forgotten how to do it myself. All right, let me log into my studio.
Oh yeah, boom.
You
You
got it
can
up?
share it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thank
You-
God.
You're gonna have to remove the comment.
Yeah, you seeing it?
Yeah, I can see it, but
Oh
rum
crap,
blood gaming comment.
crap. It gone down. Hold up. I forgot hold on. I forgot reshare it again so we can set up and really take a good look at it. Crap, I forgot do it all over again, man.
You gotta take your time for me. Like, we're not in a rush. We're not in a rush.
I made a little bit of an error and all right.
Why you never just do your shared screen and head over to Twitter on Mr. Bailey's Twitter
Yo,
account?
that never even occurred to me.
Because that would have been less stressful for you.
Yeah. So you're seeing it now, right?
Yeah, it's only the
Boom. All
comment
right, let me
message away.
Wayne Sawyer. Big up Wayne Sawyer. Big up. And big up Malik and Rumblood and everybody in the comment section. All right. So hold on, I have to remove the banner too. So this is the squad now. This is the
Yeah.
squad on your screen. Um for start, I mean the squad wasn't even them could even lay it out properly. Normally you'd have like the two goalkeepers at the top, you know, the other goalkeeper in the squad the weird on here, so. Um the squad, me no know. I mean alone think alright. Crystal, what do you think about that squad? I'm gonna ask Crystal what she think about that squad.
Straight away, just going back to what myself and Formula were saying on my live stream the other day with regards to Barnes. I expected to see Barnes in the team. I don't know what's
Mm,
going to happen with the three players because clearly at the bottom it says three more players to be added to the squad. So I don't know
yeah.
if that means Barnes will get a call up, but slightly disappointed that he's not in the team because I felt that he's giving you glimpses there to say that he can at least or should at least be in the back of the gaffer's head in terms of potentially challenging our skipper for the starting position. Not saying that he deserves to be starting, but at least giving Andre Blake something to think about in terms of, if you slip up, I'll be there to take your position. So I expected to see Bonds in the squad announcement, but again, like I said, three more players to be added to the selection. So who knows? He might get a call up.
Yeah, yeah. It's a strange one because it's a strange one, in it. It's a strange our the Crystal favorite UK talk that's in a it's a strange one, in it. Um all right, so I think the obvious first first right off the bat, there is, you touched on it, there is no Dylan Barnes, which is kinda weird and kinda crazy to me. You see the thing about it, there's three more players to be added, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many more players that you could say should be a part of those three. To the point where it's far more than three. So it's like probably a six, seven players,
Mm-hmm.
right? One player that I would definitely love to see be one of those three more players to be added is the young general by the name of Omari Hutchinson,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He definitely must, Omari Hutchinson must be in this Nations League squad, right?
Yeah,
He must be kept. He must be kept. There's no two ways around it.
I agree with
Omari
you.
Hutchinson must be kept in the now as quickly as possible.
I
No,
agree with you.
seen. So that is the first thing that and then there are so many other players. Dylan Barnes is another one. Latibo Deer featured in the Nations League. I would like to see him capped as well. I think he has potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
No Johnson Clark Harris. The striking pool is looking a little bit weak, you know. No Jordan Cousins, as a matter of fact, no CDM. Yo, this squad is all right. Hold on. How many centre backs are in this squad? Damian Lowe, Richard King. Um,
Where's Topi? Topi? Okay.
Topi's in it.
He's,
Jamai Topi.
yeah, it's number 12.
So there are what? There are three centre backs in this squad.
Off the top of my head, from what I've counted so far.
Yeah, man. Me know Eddie. Me know, and them need for if the Prime Minister needs to get involved, Eddie. That me I try to say. If the Prime Minister needs to get involved, this is a matter of top national interest. We're talking about a potential world class player here. Seen? But there are three centre backs in the team. Okay. I think that is well, unless two more out of the three players to be added will be centre backs. I think it's fair to say that Paul Hall won't be going for a back three unless the two of the next three players that are added are centre backs. Because it's just, I mean, I mean, yes, Javian Brown can play as a centre back as well, but Javian Brown I was starting right back. I mean, first, yo, the squad unbalanced. And that's what I try to say.
I
Crystal, and
know.
that's what I try to
Yeah.
say. It's right now as it stands, even if the three additional players, will affect or impact the nature of the squad in terms of making it more balanced, it still looks like it's gonna be unbalanced,
Mm-hmm.
right? All right. So who are the left backs? Bell and Campbell. So what happened to Greg Lee?
Can't see Greg Lee's name on there. He didn't get a call up. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting selection.
I mean, did he see that? I mean, Kenroy Campbell is one of the better left fullbacks in the JPL, right? I mean, anybody who watches the JPL would know that he's a decent player. And I saw him in. So I didn't watch all. I watched no lie. I never watched the last game with Waterhouse, but I watched some of Cavaliers' performances in the Caribbean Club Championship, and the games that I saw, Kenroy Campbell was probably one of their better players. And to be fair, him never looked too bad either when him come on in at the Catalonia game. I mean, when I say he did, him never catch the eye, but I wouldn't say him. I don't know, him never really look bad. Him look okay. But with that being said, though, is it a case where Paula just want to give the young youth a run out? Like, one of the things that will make me that will decide how I feel about this squad. What are Paul Hall's objectives? Is this giving young players a chance to see if them can measure up in a tournament setting? Is this giving young youths experience? Right? I mean, what is this all about?
I think that's a question for Paul Hall, because obviously none of us can speak for him. But if I am going to answer your question, I would like to think not in terms of this isn't the for Paul Hall's sake, this is not the right or appropriate timing to just be handing out opportunities in the way that Formula has alluded to, because the Wolves are out for him. The Wolves are 100% out for Paul Hall, and any wrong move that he makes, he will be heavily criticized for it. I've heard people way back from when we exited the qualifications, failing to qualify for the Men's World Cup, and then signed off in, I guess you could say, style. People then jumped the gun and said that they want the Reggae Boys to win the Nations League. So if he starts off poorly, or if there's any bumps in the road, obviously people are going to be quite harsh with their criticism of Paul Hall. So for that reason, I would have leaned towards more experienced players. I have no qualms against young players. I think if you're good enough to play, you should play. But this is no walk in the park. And if you're coming into a tournament competition where it is do or die, that's a huge amount of pressure for players who have never played at this level before, outside of your personal qualities. This is a different ball game that you're getting into. There's probably nothing more crippling, or no job that comes with more higher expectation than trying to show up for your country. That's one of the toughest jobs that you'll ever do as an athlete. It's different to when you're playing at club level. When you're playing at international level, there's a different level of pride and expectation that's attached to you. No one really cares if you're the baby of the squad. People out there are going to be unfair and expect you to go above and beyond. So it's an interesting choice of selection. Again, if you're leaning towards what Formula has alluded to, then it's a gamble that Paul Hall has taken.
But that's the thing about it, Normally, one of the signs for me, by the way, guys, smash the like button. Even if you don't rate me, man, you don't must rate Crystal, man. Do the right thing, man. Do the right thing and knock up the like button, man. Come on, man. Easy for a formula you knock it up for. You must rate Crystal. See? Um, one of the keys to having a good assessment of a squad that has been picked is when you look at it, you should be able to have an idea of the aims and objectives, even if the gaffer never said it. And when we look on the squad, you have to really not understand what is going on. Me not understand it. Like me can't understand it. It don't make no sense to me. All right, who are the right backs in this squad now? So 3 center backs, 2 left backs, right? I mean the from all right. So the two obvious omissions so far is goalkeeper Dylan Barnes. Amal Knight rather is a decent keeper, but Barnes in the games that I've seen for with Barnes in the national team, him look like a better goalkeeper than Knight to me. And I say Knight is a bad goalkeeper, but me rather Barnes.
Yeah, I think Barnes has this certain feel of assertiveness. I can't
Yeah,
speak for all of the 12 man, but he gives you a sense of assertiveness
I
when he
agree.
plays. And when you're a goalkeeper, that's the message that you need to transfer to your fans, to your supporters. They need to feel calm and relaxed when they see you in goal. More importantly, your back line, the guys playing in front of you, they also need to be feeling that sense of reassurance when you're the last man standing between the sticks. So I think that's probably what most people think of when they look at Barnes, hence the question marks over why he isn't included. But there's multiple ways to look at Paul Hall's player selection. Also important to remind ourselves that Paul Hall, that is, did say in some press conferences back that he's looking at a succession plan. So that could be one of the reasons why he's included certain number of young players. Perhaps that's him indicating that he's building towards the future. But like I said, because the Wolves are out for Paul Hall, he's probably in a position where he's damned if he does, damned if he don't. But he's in a position where it'd be interesting to see just how cutthroat he can be with decision making going forward.
You raised a good point about the Wolves road, Crystal, because you know Paul Hall needs to. I mean, look, Paul Hall is a Jamaican and he knows how his fellow Jamaicans are. They don't have a lot of patience at this project talk that he's talking
Exactly.
about, and the patience is already wearing thin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Jamaicans have no patience whatsoever. I think that's probably it's not even a secret. We all know it that just as people, we just don't have nothing named patience. So I'm pretty sure if Paul is familiar with his culture, is familiar with Jamaican people, he knows that there's no patience there. Just in football in general, even if it's at club level, international level, whatever league you play in, fans these days just don't have no patience. They want a quick fix, quick solution, but that's not going to happen. Not unless you're living in dreamland, and even then, you're probably going to have some nightmares. That's not You're not guaranteed to have it all your own way. So yeah, it's interesting times that lies ahead for Paul Hall. Hopefully he comes out successful at the end of the tunnel.
boy, Crystal,
Hmm.
Paul Hall better know what am I doing because you know look, the JFF is not the smartest. The JFF, the JFF are not the brightest bulb shining in the auditorium, Seeing, and I don't know if they are going to be able to see the bigger picture. And my thing is that I think what Jamaicans are saying, we have a good idea of what the best 23 looks like,
Hmm.
right? Paul Hall right now does not seem to have an idea of what the best 23 look like. So we are now saying, Jaffa, you need to pick the best 23 that are at an age where you can work with, for the next 4 years and run with that. The bag of chance where you give certain baller who not ready right, who many people feel not ready right now. Because me I tell you straight up, if Paul will continue with this JPL train, seeing it a go off of the tracks.
I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it would have been yesterday. And I think with Paul Hall, he's probably operating in a way where when we look back in hindsight, it will make perfect sense. I think he's probably doing things that to him makes perfect sense because he can't essentially just come in and just bulldoze his way through this team. He has to be removing one player at a time, bringing in a new player, and so on and so on, just so that he keeps a happy home, a happy camp. I don't think it can be a case where he removes all of the players that the 12th man think shouldn't be in the team. Because if that's the case, then you're going to be looking at a completely new squad. And again, the major question mark is where is the synergy? So this is why I'm saying that damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. He's in a position where his back is well and truly against the wall. You just have to stick to what he knows, and really and truly, with every rebuilding process, you have to keep the core together. So you have to keep players who are familiar with each other, even if the fans might not particularly rate them. You have to keep players who have some sort of relationship with each other, because that's essential. So whether that's a centre back pairing, or whether it's your attacking mid or your defensive mid, whichever part of the pitch that partnership is um clear to see on display, you have to keep that synergy together. You can't just break up the whole entire team and go in 23-man squad, completely new players. Um, but like I said, he's in a position where he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. But I think it's safe to say that with any manager, again, club or international level, you can't just come and bulldoze your way through a team. It's just
Yeah,
you're shooting yourself in the foot, because that's going to
fear,
upset a lot of people. And
fear.
yeah, man, it's not. It's sometimes I say to myself that it's not. It's not necessarily the players or the managers or the players. Managers don't necessarily have to worry about the players, but you probably have to worry about the players' fans or the person who is
Mm.
idolizing the player and what
But
result could come off if you pick that player and take them out of the squad and so on.
but a good manager shouldn't be concerning himself with that though, Chris. A good manager should be able to shut out all the outside noise.
It depends on what the outside looks like, the outside noise looks like. People these days are too hot headed, and that's
Yeah,
something
and
that we can't ignore.
social media.
Too hot headed on social media and also in
Yeah.
person. And if you go to these games where the Jamaican men's football team plays, you know exactly what I'm talking about. How much is there any boundary to what we can expect? Because people these days they make foolish decisions out of something that's so small and minor. So maybe that's again, maybe that's the reason why Paul Hall is taking it step by step. Again, I know that a lot of people don't rate some of the core players in the team, but if there is even a glimpse of synergy between the players that we have in mind in terms of the core players, you have to keep that together because it's better to have some glimmer of synergy than to have no synergy at all.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a fair point. The next thing, so we talk about the goalkeepers. What I will say is that it kind of strikes me as odd that it's only two goalkeepers rather than three. Normally, for a 23-man squad, even for 4 games, you would think that it would probably be three goalkeepers, right? Without field players, you can always put a makeshift somewhere in case anything happens, but it's not so really easy to put a makeshift in goal. So, but all right. So that's the first thing. So what common sense tells me, there are three positions right off the bat that common sense tells me have to be, you know, a part of the three more players that is added. One more goalkeeper, one more CDM, but we'll get to that in a second. Well, we kind of need two CDMs and a right back. From what I'm seeing here, correct me if I'm wrong, Crystal. Not only one right back in the other side. Only Javian Brown alone, me see another side as a right back.
Maybe it's going to be, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe we're going to get right backs coming into the three players set to be added to the team. Maybe he's looking at a few versatile players that could also occupy the right back selection. Bit of a frightening thought, because essentially you want an out and out right back, irrespective of how versatile a particular player might be. But yeah, then. Hmm, uh, yeah, I don't want to go into too much negatives on your platform formula. I was going to
No,
take the
no,
conversation
no.
something different,
If it needs to be said, Crystal, it needs to be said. It's just as plain and simple as that. Because that squad, yeah, boy, me no know. Because Crystal, if this is where it would have even made far more sense to have had Greg Lay in instead of Campbell. Because correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. If I'm wrong, correct me. I know Kenroy Campbell to be a left fullback, right? Me no know him to be a right back. If it was Thomas instead of Campbell, um, when my the Thomas right back Waterhouse. Me not remember. You have Denard the Thomas, which is in brother, and him first name slip me right now. See him? But we know that he can play on either flank. So if Kenroy Campbell was Thomas from Waterhouse who can play on either right back or left back, then you would have said, okay, him have three fullbacks in the squad, but one can play a left back and right back, right? Or if it was Gregley instead of Kenroy Campbell, then you could have said, we know Gregley can play on both right and left back. Then we could have said, you know, the three fullbacks in the squad, but one can play right back and one can play left back. And we know something that can play left back too. Javian Brown. But me no know. So the squad they need a right back. So they need an extra goalkeeper, them need a right back. See? And them need an extra centre back as well. I just three centre back in the mix. And Javian Brown I was starting right back. So we can't depend on him for provide an extra centre back option. Yo, this is weird. This is weird. All right, hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. Jack fly kick, box, thumb kick, you know, the like button. Slap up the like button. All right, so up next we're gonna look at the pivot positions now. Seeing, I mean, the first thing, the very first thing, guys, that struck me when I saw this squad was that there is no CDM in the squad. Now, that common sense tells me that at the very least, two of the additional three players to be added, there must be CDMs. Because there's no, I mean, unless you got play Speedy as a CDM. So I mean, that is another thing we kind of really like. Me not really understand that there's no CDM in the squad. So no Cousins. Is Kevin Stewart fit? The last time I saw Kevin Stewart was fit. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. Runblood, Devon Speedy Williams is really and truly. Like last season, he played a number of games as CDM for Miami FC, but is not really. He's more of what they refer to as a deeper line playmaking kind of a CDM, right? He's not really. Him do have that enforcer element to his game. And if we're gonna label, fine, Speedy is a CDM, but who are the number 8s in the squad? We see Ravel Morrison as a number 8, and that's about it. Hold on there. There are two pivot players in this squad. What the hell is going on? There are only two pivot. Let me look on that squad there and see if me really see good. Let me really take a good look on that squad there and see if me really see good. Guys, am I seeing good? Is there only two pivot players, Ravel and Speedy? Them they're the only two pivot players when I see in the squad. Yo, so wait. There is one right back in the squad, three centre backs in the squad, two goalkeepers in the squad, and two pivot players in the squad. So right then and there, so we see so the squad need an additional
Right back.
goalkeeper. We need an additional right back. We need an additional goalkeeper. And we need an additional centre back. At the very least, one more. No, we need at the
You
very
can't
least.
though. I mean, wow. First of all, we need another right back. We need someone in the center of the park. And I've got a feeling that we might look to bring someone in attack. But for me, preferably, I will be saying bringing in Barnes. But it feels as if they're going to bring in someone in attack. And I say they because at present, I have absolutely no idea who drafted up this squad. Just no idea at all. So again, there's no transparency with regards to who is in charge of player call-up. So it's really anyone's guess. Is it the Jamaica Football Federation? Is it Paul Hall? I don't know. And the thing is, Paul Hall, outside of Jamaica, he has enough footballing brain around him to be looking at the squad and saying this is all you need. Not saying that I don't trust Paul Hall's capabilities to call up the players. I'm saying I do trust that he would be speaking of his football friends, guys who are close to him, who are also in coaching and management as well, and they would have been looking and saying it's a unbalanced squad. So I'm kind of reluctant to believe that it was or is Paul Hall's call up, because I know he has friends around him who would tell him nothing but the God honest truth and say that that squad needs to be more balanced. So I don't know. I'm not making excuses for Paul Hall, but I'm not convinced that this is entirely his player selection. Again, if you guys cast your eyes at the end of
Three more. But
the
that's the
sheet
thing
there,
though,
more
Crystal.
players are going to be added. But even then,
But
you're not going
Crystal,
to add
that's the
three players
thing.
all in one position, are you? So it's going to be scattered across the player selection.
Crystal,
Mm-hmm.
Crystal, there is three midfielders in the squad. Ravel, Maggie, and Speedy. Yo, to say this squad is unbalanced is an understatement.
Yeah,
Paul Hall,
you need a deep. It's the same old
Paul
story,
Hall,
isn't it?
Paul Hall,
We sound like
Paul Hall,
broken records. Um,
Paul Hall, my boss, Paul Hall, my boss. Where do? Virgin, you really are show up yourself with squad selection, Virgin.
but
And you know me
that's
a root for you.
but formula. You got to ask yourself: do we know for certain that it's Paul Hall who's in charge of the player selection, who's in charge of the player call ups? Can't
But
allow
me
whoever
really,
is behind the scenes pulling the strings to get you all wind up. Can't let them
no,
rattle you, because no one knows who's in charge of the players call ups. I can't tell you who's in charge because I myself don't know. I'm in the dark just like everybody else.
I mean, look, a previous assistant coach did lose his job because he said that the JFF needs to stop interfering. I was of the opinion that I don't see Paul Hall as the type of man. He's smart enough to know that coming into a setup where he's not selecting his own team would be suicide. He's
Thing is,
smart enough
the
to know
thing
that.
is, um, thing is, formula. Unless that is down in writing, what can Paul Hall do? Some people, it goes as far as to saying a gentleman agreement is simply a gentleman agreement. Not everybody is going to be following on their words, following through on their words. You just leave it as a gentleman agreement. And
Boy,
that's that. So unless it is in black and white where you've signed it on the dotted line, what can he really do?
yo, this squad is ridiculous. Honestly, this squad is
I
all
say we
over
should
the place.
hold fire and wait until the three additional players are added to the team.
Crystal, that's the thing, you know. No matter who you add, no matter who those three additional players are, the squad still a go unbalanced, Crystal. Let's all right. The squad has three midfielders, Crystal.
Hmm.
Right? To have coverage in every single midfield position, you're going to need an additional three midfielders. Seen? So let's say in bringing the three additional midfielders. Seen? So you have coverage at every single midfield position. Seen? We're still short a centre back. We're still short a right back. And we're still short a a keeper.
What if those in the higher echelons where the player selection is concerned, what if they just testing the waters to see how fans like yourself, fans like me, and the guys in the comment section react to said player call ups?
But this squad was officially, let me tell you, you see, if this squad was not released by Earl Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
and it because like me get me see our squad before it all released.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing, so if it was something like that, I'ma look on the squad, I'ma see it, I'ma say this, may I tell you that me wouldn't put it out. Because me that be suspicious of the way you just say a while ago.
I don't dispute whether it's legitimate or not. I do think it's
It's
legitimate.
legitimate. Bailey put it out. Earl Bailey
Yeah,
put it out.
I don't dispute whether it's legitimate or not. I'm just saying going thinking far ahead into the future or maybe to the next.
Oh,
Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah, so what you're saying now.
Just to see what they could get away with. I'm not saying it's not the actual player selection. I'm saying perhaps they probably sat back. Members of JFL probably sat back and watching us all react to this, So they're probably testing the waters to see just how much they can get away with it. Get away with dare I say their hands-on involvement. Pick up on a comment that Sean Ellis has said. Your comment, I'm in disagreement with your comment. You're saying regardless if it's not him picking the squad, we're still going to blame Hall. He is the coach, he is the face of the team. That doesn't make any sense, Mr. Sean Ellis. If he isn't the person who is picking the squad, how on earth are you going to sit there and say you're still going to blame him? That doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm kind of have a point there, Crystal, because
How?
I'm
How are you
supposed to
going
put
to
on
blame
him
some?
foot.
If we're all sat here
I'm supposed to put
critiquing
on him foot, Crystal. I'm supposed to put on
and
him
and
foot and
and
say,
do
yo,
what? And do what? The only thing you
and
can do is just walk away because there's no way that
then
Paul Hall.
walk away then
There's no way. But you guys have to stop breaking your habit into that. If that is the case, then everybody's going to walk away.
from the JFF.
Everybody's going to walk away.
That's
It's
a good
Paul Hall.
point. That's a
Paul,
good point.
Paul Hall is one man army. You expect Paul Hall to take down the entire JFF? He can't. He can't. What Paul Hall can do is build a team around him for the future. So the team starts on the field of play, sorry, off the field of play and on the field of play. Players who are willing to die for him and coaching staff who are willing to stand by him through thick and thin. That's the only way that you can perhaps potentially challenge the JFF. And even then, it's not a guarantee. So if we're all expecting Paul Hall to be all high and mighty all by himself as a one-man banner, one-man
That's a
army,
fair point.
we're not going nowhere anytime soon. And we can't
And
just keep on saying walk away, walk away. So who's going to stand firm?
and that's a solid point because and as you rightly said, Crystal, if everybody was supposed to walk away from the foolishness that the JFF put up, then literally everybody would walk away.
Mm-hmm. We have to break
And we
out of
wouldn't
that
have
habit.
we wouldn't have anybody. That's a yo. I can't even argue with that point. This Crystal. Like me not like you, Crystal. You always just deliver some brilliant points. I'm gonna really have no comeback. Seeing
Sometimes,
that
Formula, sometimes you have to let people think that they're winning, and then behind the scenes, you're putting a fast one on them, and they don't even realize it because their level of intelligence isn't matching up to yours because they're just one dimensional. But little they know you're pulling a fast one right in under their nose, and they can't even see it.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's too late. So in the
All
future
right.
now, Paul up, and it's already started. When have you ever seen Leon Bailey be so outspoken as a reggae boy?
True.
Outspoken. It's already started. Paul, as it stands, he can say that I can rely on a Leon Bailey. Now imagine if
Mm,
he can get four more added to Leon Bailey. And you add another, and you add another. That's what you call a team. That's what you call a unit. That's what you call a chain that can't be broken.
yeah.
A team that moves together. That's when you start to get more than synergy out of players. That's when you start to grind out results. But like I said, Paulo can't come through here and just act like a bull in a pen. He's not going to get nowhere. He's just wasting his energy.
So wait. So I say it's a long play, I make Crystal.
I
You
would
think it's
like
a
to
long
think so.
play,
I
I
think
make?
it's a game of chess. It's a game of
Mm,
chess that you have to play with the football federation. You can't just go in there and think you're gonna beat them just like that. You're wasting your breath. You're gonna
mm,
overwork yourself. You're gonna give yourself a headache. You have to be patient with them. Be patient with them. It's a question of asking just how patient you have to be with these guys. But you're not going to
yeah.
have it your own way overnight. Remember, Paul Hall's just been reintroduced to this team, not even a year ago, fully. And in terms of being the gaffer, the main man in charge, like that's just a couple of months. So it's not going to work overnight. If these things that we're expecting to work overnight where Paul Hall's job is concerned, if it does not happen at club level, what makes you think it's going to happen at international level when you see each other far less?
Mm,
It's not going to happen.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Can't even go around that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna continue looking at the squad from a numbers perspective in the respective positions. Finish off that, and then we talk a bit about some of the noticeable absentees. By the way, again, smash up the like button. Free and easy way to support the channel. Free and easy ways to give the youth some strength. If you don't rate me, you must rate Crystal. So
Probably not, because I'm not
socializing
telling
to
them what they
Crystal.
want to hear. I know Jamaican football fans love when you sing from the same hymn sheet as them. So probably not. I'm probably not their cup of tea tonight, but oh well, it is what it
Yeah,
is.
and you see me ask you gently. Me nah go bother up like Ryan. See? Nah go bother up like Ryan.
Rima man.
Alright, yeah, man, real my man for like real talk, man. Real my man. Alright. So me could look on the center forwards now. See? Me say
Yeah.
one, two, three, three out and out center forwards in the squad, right? Akosa Trang, Atafari Bygrave, and Shamar Nicholson. Three out and out center forwards. See? And then me say, how many wingers now? How many wingers? Is Jamalo? Which one is Jamalo? Is he? You him can like him can play
Winger.
both. Like
Yeah, he can,
I
he
think he's
can, but
more of a
essentially
winger.
more effective as a winger.
Yeah, all right. So make we label Jamal Lowe as a winger, Junior Flemings as a winger, Kahim Paris as a winger, Daniel Green as a winger, Rolanda Irons as a winger, Leon Bailey as a winger. That's six wingers. So three center forwards and six wing forwards. What the hell? Why you need six wing forwards?
Jamaica, isn't that this is what I'm saying? Is this something that's new to us in terms of our firing capabilities and who we choose to call up in the attacking position that you've spoken of, Formula? This isn't something that's new to us. We saw the same thing on the Tapa. We saw the same thing, and with regards to Jamal, yes, he can play as a winger. Is Paul Hall going to play him as a play him up top with Nicholson in terms of big forward, looker forward? Potentially, it might work. I've not seen them do that together yet, but potentially he might have. That's an option, is what I'm saying. Um, but yeah, it's nothing. This isn't nothing new. Being top heavy is what I'm saying. Being top heavy is nothing new when it comes to player call ups where the men's national team is concerned. So again, I'm not exactly shocked by it.
Yo, this not make no sense to me, Crystal. Crystal, only you could have try and provide an explanation for that for what me just said a while ago, and even remotely pull it off. Like this don't make no
I'm not even
sense.
trying to do that, I'm just here to try and just
Eddie,
trying to have a conversation with you. I'm not even trying to stick up for anyone or trying to save anyone's job. I'm just trying to have a conversation with you.
Eddie say 8 piece wings combo. Is that nine? Is that well? Yo, I don't know. By the way, Sean Ellis, big up the for the super chat. Thanks very much, much appreciated. Sean Ellis said, Crystal, we can guess who is picking the team and react based on our assumption, or we can look at the facts and react based on those. All is the coach facts. He gets the glory. He gets the blame. Yeah, true. True.
50-50 though, Mr. Ellis, 50-50. And perhaps that's something that we've done wrong over the years as the 12th man. So in turn, would we change anything in the future if we projected our energy in the right direction? So if we called out the nonsense of what it is, if rather than saying that because Paul Hall is the man in charge, we're going to blame him, why not actually blame the people who we are assuming or alluding to as the ones who are setting us up for failure? Because basically that's what we're all saying is you're setting us up for failure. So if we know that Paul Hall isn't the man that's setting up for us for failure, why should we blame him? Why not project that energy onto the right person? That's all I'm saying. Yes, I do get where you're coming from, that he is the face of the team, but wrong is wrong, right is right. If I'm the manager at club level and I'm not being backed financially by the board, and you're seeing that evidently through the players' performances, because the squad depth is diluted. It's foolish of the 12th man to just blame the manager. Yes, you can blame the manager, but you also have to blame the owners as well for not injecting life into the team. So it's foolish for us to just beat the same drum and say that it's all Paul Hall's fault. Factually speaking, it's not all his fault. Until I know for certain who is in charge of the player call-ups, I'm not going to sit here and say that it is all Paul Hall faults. I can't say that. I'm sorry, guys, in the comment section, but I can't say that because I don't know that for certain.
Yeah. We can't. One of the things we need for that, we can't beat speed for this a team neither, because our one Cavaliers play alone in other side, So they can't beat speed for that team. And I know we're not gonna beat for that side,
I
But
don't know who to project the blame onto, so that's why I'm just saying I can't sit here and say it's Paul Hall's fault because I don't know. I don't know if he's in charge of the player call-up, so I can't sit here. Me doing that, it would be irresponsible for me to do that as a content creator. It would be foolish of me to tell you guys that it's his fault because it might not be. Now imagine the damage to his reputation that I would do because of my irresponsible me being irresponsible and providing misinformation to you guys in the comment section. I can't sit here and do that. So again, I'm sorry, but I can't blame someone for something that I just don't know enough about, unfortunately.
Ishmael King, boy, Virgin, a whole heap of problems with that squad, Virgin. Whole heap. Because, all right, my thing is, all of those six wingers, right? Is only one out of those six wingers you can say is a proper makeshift player, and that is Jamal Lowe, right? But he's not even a makeshift player as a midfielder. He's a makeshift player as a centre forward. If these wingers were proper makeshift players as midfielders, I wouldn't agree, but I could have kinda understand. But these players for the most part are just wingers. So there are 9 forwards in the team, 6 wingers, 3 centre forwards. Make no sense.
I can say the same thing that we're talking about now. We've spoken about it on the previous gaffer, and I know that people who are close to Paul
Yo,
Hall.
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Do you see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a pattern.
We are broken records. We are literally broken records, repeating the same thing over and over again. And I know that there are people who are close to Paul Hall who would have criticized what the previous gaffer was doing in terms of is it his player selection, is it not? I don't know up until this day. So what I'm saying is Paul Hall has footballing brain next to him, behind him, friends who are in the football industry over here in England at well respected clubs. He must be having conversation with those guys, and they would have told him that that's an unbalanced team. That's an
Yeah.
unbalanced team. And it's not
Big
the first time that we've sat here and said that
the team,
the team.
most of the times the squad pick it and balance.
So basically, what we're doing is whose fault is that? Because it seems to me that if we're going to be sat here and saying this is an unbalanced team, similar to what we've seen on the previous gaffers, then you go back in full circle and you look at the person who is in charge of recruitment. And which direction are you going into? You're going into the direction of the football federations, and then you have to say that, do you know what you're doing when you're recruiting head coaches, be it on an interim or permanent basis? Because it
Mm-hmm.
can't just be a case where Paul Hall and Kappa are getting it wrong with their player selections and we just leave it and say that it's their fault.
Mm.
If it's a case of insanity, who is allowing the insanity to run its course? You look at the
Yeah.
people who are
Yeah.
in charge of the whole program, and unfortunately, that is the Jamaica Football Federation. So this is what I'm saying. Yes, I understand why you guys would blame Paul Hall, but at the end of the day, you have to balance out that blame. Your blame is unbalanced, just like the team selection. Balance out the blame and mention the Jamaica Football Federation as well. Because for me,
Yeah.
your blame so far is a little bit unbalanced.
Yeah. No, I think many agree. I think many, and I certainly agree. All right. So the squad unbalanced. That's clear for even with the 3 additional players to be added, the squad unbalanced and it unbalanced bad. That's pretty obvious. Like it unbalanced bad. See? All right. Let's talk about quickly about, by the way, big up Udel, big up Wun Wun. Big up everybody in the chat, man. Big up everybody in the chat. Can't name all the names. See? Um, where the chat is on my screen, I say Udela, I say Wunwun, so I can big them up. And I
Oh,
can
Wun-Wun's
Ishmael
around.
too.
Oh, big up yourself,
Yeah,
Wun-Wun.
man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Who else
Wunwun
is
them up,
about?
man. All right.
Let's
We're,
see.
we're go we're gonna look on the noticeable absentees now. See?
Mr. J. Ross.
J Ross about to.
Yeah, J. Ross is
Yeah,
around. Big
yeah,
up
yeah.
yourself,
Well,
J. Ross.
yeah, and I bought like 70 people up on the live right now.
Look at you. You're Mr. Popular. I don't think I've ever had 70 people on my live
What?
stream.
Crystal, you have 70 people by your live stream all the time. Cut
I
the
don't
foolishness.
recall, Mr.
What?
Formula.
Yeah, you turn the MP them when something a go on, when Tivoli incursion a go on. But I can't recall. Um, all right.
You realize you have more likes than people watching?
I never realized that. But
Yeah, you
Crystal, you
do.
do them the thing that Crystal, stop it. You do them the thing that all the while. So I don't know where you talk about. Me see Crystal with 100 people on our live stream and 200 likes.
It's
So
not
we don't
true,
know
guys.
what that is facts. And I can prove it. That is facts. See? All right. Noticeable absentees. The first one that sticks out, Mikel Antonio, is me or somebody said Mikel Antonio is on vacation. Is that actually true? Me no know. Me a
Um,
ask.
typically players from the Premier League, I guess you could say EFL. This is their holiday period. But yeah, if he is on holiday, it's not to be disrespectful to the national side. It's just he needs his time off. If you want to get the best out of Mikel Antonio, he needs to go and unwind, recharge his batteries, so that he can get himself in the best shape possible for his country and his club. So yeah, typically now a lot of the Premier League players are on their holidays.
Yeah, and you see the thing about it is especially a player like Mikel who has played so many games this season because he, was the only striker at West Ham all season. He was playing Prem, he was playing, Europe for Jamaica. You have to give him props. His body held up well basically this season under the most grueling campaign he has faced thus far in his career.
I was worried about him. I think me and you spoke about that
Yeah,
formula, that we
yeah,
were concerned about the heavy schedule, right? Again, playing in the Europa League and then coming over for the national side and playing in essentially it would have been League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League fixtures, a host of fixtures that he would never have played in his the duration of his career up until recent. So a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
fixtures under his belt, and thank God his body is hold up.
Yeah, because him had two things this year, Him had Europe and him had the international duty and
Yeah,
traveling thousands of miles, tens of thousands, probably even hundreds of thousands of miles when it add up. So
yeah.
I don't know if I'm particularly surprised, especially at his age, right? That I don't know if he was available and he pulled out. I don't know what the scenario is, but
I think it's important for us to all know that we everybody needs a break, guys. Even us
yeah,
that do our
I
regular
agree.
nine to
I
five, we
agree.
need a break. You can't expect Mikel Antonio to go from the Premier League to playing in his most competitive season yet, and then come to the national side without a break. You're
Yeah,
getting somebody who is not fully mentally and possibly physically up to speed, because this is his down period. His body's probably with us in camp or on the football pitch, but his brain's probably somewhere else. His brain wants to be with his family time now. So if you want to get the best out of Mikel Antonio and the other players who play in the AFL and the Premier League, you have to allow them to go and readjust. At the moment, Leon Bailey's readjusting with his family in Jamaica. He has to. He has
Leon Bailey has been readjusting for majority of this season, Crystal.
Yeah,
Let's be
he's been
real.
knocked with so many injuries left, right, and center, isn't it? But yeah, every player they have to readjust. They can't just go from club football to international. If there's an opportunity to recharge those batteries for our own sake, those batteries have to be recharged.
Jamaican Guna, that's not a bad point. That's not a bad point. Guna say Paul all know what him a do. Him a go play two of them winger there as a wing back and use one as a centre back. Me no know about the wing. Oh, but him have laughing emojis. Jaja. Me never even see that. Me no know about the centre back part. But me no know. Probably one of them two. Me no know. Probably two of them wingers that could have probably play wing back. Me no know. What you think? Um, but definitely not as a centre back. But all right, so Mikel, a noticeable absentee. Another noticeable absentee for me, and a player that I would have loved to have been in the mix for this particular Nations League campaign is Kemar Roof. Right now,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think I spoke earlier about you know Bailey, Maggie, and Ravel being on the pitch at the same time, and the fireworks that would go off with those three linking up. I think it would have been topped off by Kemar Roof being the one to be on the end of that creativity, right?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
he's arguably our most clinical striker.
yeah, we also have to question what form we're going to be getting Kumar Roof in as well, because he
Yeah,
just about made the Europa League final by the skin of his teeth, didn't he?
yeah,
So again, these games are played at high intensity. It really is go harder, go home. Do you want a player that's standing on half a leg, one leg, or do you want a player that's fully fit mentally and physically to be able to maximize his potential and give us what we need of him? So again, we don't know what's going to happen with those three additional players. Who knows? Maybe Kamal Roof is part of the call up, but again, it's probably at that period where he now needs his downtime. So if you take him away from that, you probably won't get the best out of him because his mind has been programmed to say now is off season. Because I know I get to a certain point of the year where my body is just depleted and I have to hold myself together to make sure that I'm giving a good account of myself at work. Because my body is basically saying, holiday, you need a holiday, you need a holiday. And then that's when I start looking for tickets to Jamaica to come and get my. No, seriously, I swear to you, my friends will tell you there comes a period in the year where my body's just out, completely out. And you ask people who I don't know what it's like in Jamaica. I don't think you guys take mental health serious in Jamaica. Obviously it's a different economy, so you probably can't afford to treat yourself to a holiday. I know that. So I'm not speaking down on anyone, but I don't think you guys understand the full um value of being able to just pull yourself away from work and just unwinding and the invaluable pluses that comes with doing so for your body, both physically and mentally. That's something that is overlooked, I think, but definitely over here in a foreign country. First time I actually took my first holiday, I realized why so many people go on holidays. I was like, and
yeah,
your body just feels different, formula. I
yeah.
your body just feels like
Guys,
release of its shackles.
honestly, Crystal care about well-being.
No, seriously, I don't think people in Jamaica feel bad. I do feel so sorry. Again, I'm not trying to pity no one or look down on anyone, but I don't think I know economy and finance is one of the reasons why we don't think of these things. To speak on certain things, you have to first be able to experience it. And because I've
Yeah,
experienced being in certain situations, I can afford to speak on certain topics like the value of being able to, put your mental health first and the value of a holiday. This is what I'm saying. The likes of Michael Antonio, Kimar Roof, those guys, they need their holidays.
but
Let's
all
remind
right.
ourselves that MLS also recently started not too long ago, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. All right. So with the roof, I don't know how I feel about roof, because and again to be clear, we need explanations because we don't know why these high-profile players are missing. But
Yeah.
even with a roof has sat out quite a bit of this season, A whole heap of breaks him take that season here too. And
He's had to completely unplanned though, isn't it? Because of injuries. And then this is why I'm talking about the mental health aspect. Because what does that every time you talk to a player and you ask them like what did that do to you? Say if you pick up like an ACL injury and you say to a player,
mhm,
what did that injury do to you mentally? They always say to you that it made them question themselves.
Yeah.
So if you're talking
Yeah, they're
about a
not as
player,
confident.
exactly, do you want a player who's don't have much confidence in himself being
But
brought up?
but Crystal, to be fair, no, although Roof never did anything, never had enough time in the Europa League final. When he came on, the one contribution he had in the
Exactly.
game, him
Yeah,
nearly
yeah.
caused a goal for score.
I'm speaking broadly though, so not just on Kamar Roof. I'm talking about the players that guys have in their mind in terms
Or
of the,
generally speaking,
yeah, generally speaking again.
Roof never looked like him there suffer from a confidence issue when him did come on
Nah,
in
I'm
a
talking
them
about the
final minutes.
players, the players there in the Premier League and players in the EFL that people be looking and saying, why aren't they here? They need their break. They need their break. They
But me
definitely
no know though, Crystal, because Mr. Jamaica gonna make a comment here. See, him say because he was speaking about Antonio earlier and saying him agree with Antonio's exclusion because he was West Ham's only forward. I know him had far more games than he would
Yeah,
normally have and he's
yeah. I
injury
mean,
prone.
Sean Ellis, you
But
can pipe up in the comment section as much as you want. I'm not here to cater to your needs. I'm not here to please you. You don't have to disagree with me, but I'm going to stick to my opinions. And then football is a game of opinions. If you don't agree, you don't agree. But I'm
but
not going to, you can push back on my comment all day long. I'm not going to change my tune to please you. So football is a game of opinions at the end of the day. You have your opinion and I have my opinion, and I'm going to stand firm with my opinion. You cannot
hold on,
overlook
man.
the fact that
Militant.
Mikel Antonio has
Crystal
played.
militant tonight.
No, because
No, but
Mikel
all right.
Antonio played his most
Most
um
games ever. But
exactly
all right, but look at this
in
comment
his
now,
career.
Crystal.
So at some point, Mikel Antonio needs his break. It's not
True,
me making
true.
excuses for Mikel Antonio, because if you're familiar with me, one thing I don't do is make excuses for players. When Paul
All right.
Hall was visibly pissed off with what a couple of the UK based players and players in Scotland did in
Mm-hmm.
terms of not showing up, I was beating them alongside Paul Hall. So don't label me as somebody who's making excuses for Mikel Antonio, because you're not familiar with me or my content. So if you don't agree with me, that's fine, but I'm not going to be changing my tune just to please you. That's not what I'm about.
But
Sorry,
all
Colin.
right. Yeah, man, that's no problem, man. But all right, but Guna then said no other UK player can tell me nothing about tired when they say England Nations League squad. And that is the issue that I'm having because on the one hand the long season tired is a legitimate excuse,
Yeah,
but on the other hand, all the other teams are gathering their strongest squads for summer nations tournament. So,
yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Roof exclusion. Roof is a tricky player because Roof has had, may I just say this, because there have been previous windows that Roof has missed, right? And
Exactly.
from my understanding of it, the issue was his club
There we go. There
in
we go.
terms
And I was
of
going to
the,
touch on that.
the club. Because the thing with Roof is that he's now being labeled an injury prone player. Because in the last couple of seasons he has had a lot of time out.
Yeah,
See? So apparently Rangers is very mindful of that and they obviously, know how important the player is. So from what I hear, his club seems to be very concerned with allegedly with his international duty and how that would affect, his availability for them, right? So Roof is a very tricky scenario because he's becoming so frail.
people are overlooking the absolute elephant in the room here when we're talking about Mikel Antonio and Kimar Roof. It's not just a case of saying that they need their break. They do need their break, and I'm not going to push back on that. There's also three more players to be added to the squad. If you look at the likes of Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, they've been called up to the England national team. If you check their Instagram, social media, they're currently on holiday. And that is a fact. They're on holiday, unwinding, even though they've
Mikel
been.
Antonio is on holiday?
I don't know if Mikel Antonio is on
Who you
holiday.
said is on holiday?
Bukayo Saka and
Oh,
Harry
oh,
Kane, they've
players
been called up to
generally.
their.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're on holidays. This is what I'm saying. Players in the Premier League and even our very own Leon Bailey is unwinding at the moment because they have to. They have to. Now we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We don't know if Michael Antonio or Kamal Roof have said no to a call up. We don't know if the gaffer have turned around and said, because you weren't here for the last window, I'm not giving you
But
opportunity
but
to
but
someone
Crystal,
else.
Crystal. Initially, I thought that but
Mm.
Boza is in the squad,
Yeah,
and
he is
Boza,
in. He is in the
Boza
squad. I
flat
think
out was a
with
flat
Shima,
out turned down a call up
with
because him just moved to a new club and him want in a winter training and all sort of arms house.
Exactly, exactly. So this is what I'm saying, that when we're handing out our opinions, we have to measure our opinions, because we can't really necessarily jump the gun and say this is that, that is that, without actually knowing the facts. Football again is just a game of opinions. Unless we know exactly what we're on about, we have to balance our opinions. We have to be objective of our views, because we could be sending out the completely wrong message.
All right, Squills say, how come Bailey's club isn't concerned? I think we have to keep in mind, that different clubs have different cultures and different clubs have different attitudes and different clubs have different coaches and different
Yeah,
gaffers. From my understanding of it, even Gerard is not as uptight as many managers are about players going on international duty,
yeah,
right? However, from my understanding of it, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, the new Rangers manager, isn't the most elated when the international windows come around. Let's just put it at that. So all
yeah.
of that has to be, everybody is not the same squelch.
No,
See?
definitely not.
All right,
Definitely not.
let us talk about, and as we speak about the obvious omissions, we need to bear in mind that again, three more players are to be added. Seen?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right, so another player who is a noticeable absentee for me is the Arsenal player Hutchinson. Now I don't know where his document situation is, but as I said earlier in the stream, if the Prime Minister needs to get involved, the Prime Minister needs to get involved, because we're talking about a potential world class player here, and he needs to be capped ASAP.
Yeah,
ASAP. Seen
I
any
agree.
more? Yeah, he needs to be capped. Hutchinson needs to be capped ASAP. The boy has potential, no doubt. Any other high profile forward players missing? Gray, Gray,
um,
Gray is another one as well. But is it that Paul Hall is looking to the future and probably a 30-year-old Gray and Antonio is not in his plans?
that's what I'm saying, that we have to just look at some of the stuff that Paul Hall has said before in prior press conferences. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, he's touched on succession plan, succession having a succession plan. So what does that succession plan looks like? If you're talking about a succession plan, essentially what that means is you're going with players who are young, but young enough to have experience. So someone like Damien Lowe, he isn't a young player, but at the very same time, he's not an old player, but he does have that possibly necessary experience that Paul Hall is looking for, irrespective of whether people rate him or not as a player for the national side. Um, and also, I think if he's building for a succession plan, you're not going to be seeing a complete 23-man squad where all the players are inexperienced, because you know how that's going to end up. So again, he's going to still need to, for the time being, rely on his core players, players with experience, players who have played at this level of the game to
Mm-hmm.
to at least push forward and do something again, irrespective of whether the fans like the players or not. It's not about whether the fans like the players or not. At the end of the day, it's about doing the right thing. So
Oh,
I
by
think,
the way, oh,
mm,
sorry, you were saying something. Got you, got you.
so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's the reason why you haven't seen the likes of Antonio, possibly Ruth. But then again, we don't know. We don't know what goes on behind
Bobby,
closed doors.
Bobby Reed is another player that is out.
Yeah, Bobby, I know he's on his holiday as well. So that's like three players that we know that
But
is
Jamal Lowe is on holiday, but he's still
exactly,
preparing for the
exactly.
Nations League.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying we don't know what goes on, what type of conversation goes on behind closed doors. It's interesting that you're bringing up Bobby Reed because I've seen so many people throw Bobby Reed under the bus. Likewise, I've seen so many people from Michael Hector under the bus, but then when push came to shove, they're crying, saying, "Where is Michael Hector? What do you want? Do you want Michael Hector in the team, or don't you want Michael Hector in the team? You can't have it both ways," type of thing. So.
Circumstances change. Circumstances change. All right. Yeah, circumstances change, right? If
I
we
think
do
I
have
think
certain
I
players
think
in certain
I think
positions,
Travis would disagree with you there. Travis is probably disagreeing with you there. Big
Travis,
up yourself,
Travis,
Travis. I don't know if I've said it already. Big up yourself.
Travis, Travis, him now Boza back in the squad, and that's another thing we have to bear in mind too. That the gaffer probably might not wasn't impressed with some of these players, which I don't
Mm-hmm.
know there are best players available, players who have played at a very high level. Another noticeable absentee is also Daniel Johnson,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
and Kevin Stewart as well, right? Is another notice, and Kevin Stewart seems to be a player that the gaffer has a lot of time for, I think, because he seems to love ball playing CDMs.
It's
So
an interest. We're entering
yeah,
interesting times, aren't we?
but
Definitely
what
interesting times.
what I want to say though is right. The, I already made my comments clear the last World Cup qualifying window, right? I did
Mm-hmm.
not agree with Paul Hall questioning the commitment of players, you know, not making themselves available for that window. That particular window, I did not agree with the gaffer questioning the commitment of those players because of the circumstances, right? And the context of that particular window. That particular window. Not windows before, but that last window. See? Now, with that being said, though, I am noticing that a number of the high profile players that are out are UK born Jamaican reggae boys who did not make themselves available for the last window. And I say UK born because Shamar Nicholson, well, obviously he could not have come the last window, but the window before that, he could have come and he chose not to, right? So I don't know if the gaffer wasn't hurt by that, but I don't know, guys, if you think I am, you know, looking at it wrong, but a number of the high profile absentees are the UK born Jamaican reggae boys who did not make themselves available for the final window, or who the gaffer says did not make that he wasn't satisfied with their excuses. I don't agree with him. As I said, I think it was unfair and unreasonable to question their commitment. And I know Crystal disagrees with me, and that's fine. But me
I've
personally,
not said anything.
no, me know me see you already up the belt, man. Me see you already up. It's like you say, watch when the boy done talk. Me I go beat him. Watch when the boy done. Me see you already up the belt. But me personally, I think Paul Hall questioning their commitment for the last window, given the circumstances of where the team couldn't qualify again, the crunch club schedules, max match schedules because of COVID. I know more agitated clubs are about their players leaving. on international duty, and how it could put these players in an uncomfortable scenario at their respective clubs, where I mean, you're talking about a player's career being affected, right? So because of having to being placed in an uncomfortable scenario. So I never agreed with him questioning their commitment, but I just have to point out some notice a trend here and I notice a pattern. All of those players, all of those UK born Jamaican reggae boys that pulled out of the last window, they are not here. No, we don't know again. We have to remember there are three more players to be added. So we have to bear that in mind. No, but no, you know, a lie me I tell though, Crystal. A lie me I tell, you know. A foolish me I chat.
I'm
Because
glad you spotted it.
Jamalo is in the squad.
That's why I was smiling.
But
That's why
no,
I was smiling.
but to be fair though, him never called Jamal Lowe name in at the press conference though, you know.
Yeah, but that was because that was he responded to names that were mentioned in the press conference, and
That's true.
also Paul Hall said in the press conference that it is essentially country over club. Now that's not something that I can disagree on. I couldn't care less if you're the best player in the team or you're playing for the biggest club in the world. I'm always going to be leaning towards saying country over club for obvious reasons. It's my country and I love my country more than I love my club.
Hold on,
So
Crystal. Sorry for cut your Crystal.
mhm.
But Crystal, me and you a big time friend in a man.
We don't have to
You
agree. This is
couldn't
what I'm saying. Football
no
is a
no
game
no.
of
What me I say
opinions.
is you couldn't say your formula. You chat foolishness.
You're not telling me
Jamal
to pause. You're telling me to put a stop
Jamal
in
Lowe
it.
in the squad formula. Jamal Lowe in the Crystal, we have the private chat. So you couldn't say to me say yo dog. Yeah, you chat foolish.
You, you told me to put a pin in it. You said stick a pin in it, Crystal. So I said, okay,
Jaja
let him have his
Crystal.
moment.
Crystal,
And I was
Crystal,
just
me there.
smiling away. I was like, watch him, look
Yo,
at him go.
me, yo, because I think already you did ready for beating because I disagree with my point, you know.
No,
But
I said I
but me
don't
they a
disagree with
laugh
your
after me
point.
the whole time and me they I turn myself, you know, I'm big eats. I'm big idiot.
I was
So,
laughing because I was like, Jamal Lowe is also there as well. But no, there was a huge emphasis, and Paul Hall
mhm.
did say, going ahead, it has to be country over club. And at that moment, there was a few people. I think Formula was on my channel as well, and we were saying that it would be interesting to see if Paul Hall recalls some of those players. Also, commenting on what Paul Hall said, not Paul Hall, what Formula said in terms of whether or not it was the right call for Paul Hall to basically hang a couple players out to dry. Who knows? This is probably the impact and the result of that. I don't know if those players are going to be part of the additional three players to be called up to the squad. Again, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't know if Michael Antonio or Kamar Roof was offended that basically their coach didn't protect them. Two sides of the stories here is
Yeah, that's true. That they could have been offended by the press conference. I didn't even think about it that way.
that's what I'm saying, that when we're drumming up our opinions, it's a good idea to try and get the balance right, or to try to be objective, because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Also, we don't know if they're going to be called up for the three additional players. We also
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
he reached out to a Michael Antonio and they politely declined. We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't
we
know.
don't know. Yeah, yeah.
There's not enough transparency there. So that's what I'm saying. When it comes to criticism, we have to be a little bit balanced with it, because we don't know. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the JFF to know exactly what's going on, but unfortunately I'm
Would
not.
you? Would you do a crystal? You want to hear them the bag of arms house the crystal?
I'd like to know a couple things. I'll fly in now and again, especially when I know that, yeah, I've got my
Yo,
spidey senses
Crystal,
says. Hmm.
Crystal, you know when you ask somebody a question and them say, if me tell you me have to kill you.
Yeah.
Yo, I know everything you were going in the JFF me that one know. Trust
I
me.
would like to know when it comes to the player call ups, because there's a huge lack of transparency there. So I would love to fly in and say, okay, what's really going on around here? Who's the governor? Who's in charge? And then fly back out and so on. But just for that moment there. But yeah, there is so much that happened in the last window that I think people are just um overlooking because so many weeks have gone past and people are not remembering what was said in that press conference with Paul Hart,
Yeah,
how
yeah, yeah,
players might take it, and so on and so on. So yeah, there's
yeah.
plenty there to discuss and ponder over.
All right. Sean Ellis again. Thanks for the super chat, man. Much appreciated. Big up yourself, boss. If a principle can't apply to all, it shouldn't be applied to any. That's how divisions are created. That's saying Antonio is respected over others. 15 minutes a game to jail for those who needs a rest. Okay. Point taken. Point taken. By the way, Travis, this is a very good comment as well too. Peter McGregor, could is a baller where him deserve him shot. And at the second time the national team pass team play and Peter McGregor is not given a chance. McGregor deserve a chance, for prove where if somebody if Bygrave get called up, Peter McGregor can get called up. See him become a rate Peter McGregor over Bygrave. Seeing and that's no offense to Bygrave. Seeing um all right. So Ethan Pinnock, is out as well. Liam Moore is out as well. So, Wes Harding doesn't seem to be featuring much in the plans these days. To speak on inclusions that I'm very happy to see. I am happy to see Amari Bell make a return. I have a lot of time for Amari Bell. I think he's the best left back available to the nation right now. I don't know how Crystal feels about that, but I'm happy to see him back. Rolando Aarons is a player that for years, like me never even think that would have happened, but it happened. He's here, right? I mean, this is a player. I remember watching him ball Manchester City as an 18-year-old in a FA Cup game, in a FA Cup tie. He scored in that game, if memory serves me right. It was probably about 8 years ago, but if memory serves me right, it was actually a match-winning goal, and he played very well against a strong City team. I remember that injuries of sort of derailed his career as well. You know who injuries has derailed as well? A player at the same club that Aaron's plays for. There's a player at Huddersfield that made his debut in the Premier League as a 17-year-old by the name of Aaron Rowe. He has actually publicly stated that he would be very interested in playing for playing for Jamaica, that he would want to be called up. But and he's a very talented player, still young, but very talented. Not as young as he once was, but injuries mash up that youth big time. He was such a talented player. I hope he can get his career back on track. Yeah, but it's good to see Rolanda Aaron's here. Boza, obviously, mo want Boza Fina squad. He's one of our best players, but I still kind of feel a way about how he abandoned us when we needed him the most. It's good to see Kahim Paris get a chance. Kahim Paris, for quite some time was arguably the best left-footed winger, that the second best left-footed winger that was available to us there in Leon Bailey, right? So I remember Sir Rolanda Aarons is left-footed, so I guess that would be I don't know if how I feel about that, if he's still the best left-footed winger in the mix. Yeah, those players right after the bat, good to see low back as well. Yeah. Um Akosa Chang is a player that I am watching carefully. Decent talent, has upside. I can't understand what's the merit for him making the squad right now. You know, he has been in Denmark for a couple of months in the Danish second division and hasn't featured even on the bench. And he hasn't really been playing much meaningful game time in quite some time. I don't know if the gaffer, wants to include him because he sees him as a major talent. I don't know, him impress him in a training, I don't know. But yeah, the moral of the story is that squad I need work. but let us see how that squad I need. You know that show Fixer Upper on HGTV where them buy some old house or some house where in desperate need of repair, seeing and bringing some hammer and bringing some shovel and bringing some this and bringing some that. That squad I need some fix up. Seeing this squad needs a fixer up. Seeing right, it needs to be flipped. But you know, that's the moral of the story. The squad unbalanced regardless of who the three additional players are. Crystal, your final thoughts on one play. By the way, it's good to see Tyreek McGee back in the team as well. Me no,
Absolutely.
yo, me no business where no man wants it. Tyreek McGee balled in the Catalonia game. Yo, I've rarely ever said something like this. Seeing one, because I am very respectful of the fact that everybody has opinions, right? And different people see different things from different perspective, and
Hmm.
I respect that and I understand that. Seeing, so I've never said this, but me I go say it. At the first time I ever say something like this, me try not to say it because me no know, me think only ignorant people move them way there, but me I go be ignorant right now. Me I go be ignorant right now. Seeing anybody who say Tyree McGee never ball versus Catalonia no know nothing. No know nothing about football. Me I
So
go
we
tell
was
you that
when
straight
same
up.
play okay.
Who know you my brethren. Seeing? No, but all right. All right. One say him play okay. Seeing? One now say, you have people who say the man play bad or the man not do nothing. I one thing for you say the man play okay, but if you say the man not do nothing, like, I was very impressed with Tyreek McGee's performance against an extremely quality team. I said in a video earlier, the Catalonia team is a team filled with players who are starting and getting a lot of game time for clubs in top five leagues in Europe and even some massive, massive clubs like Barcelona, Real Betis, and some big clubs. If Tyree McGee showed me in that game that he has the technical ability to play at a very, very high level. That wasn't a buck-ups performance. That wasn't a one-off performance. That wasn't just a, oh, I'm in the right mood, I'm in a good run of form. Long time the youth no roll no leather for club or country. Seeing that was a player who has immense technical ability. Me I telling you people, Maggie Ball, military good I say it. The people in sports max say people and not me alone attack it. Maggie really impressed in that Catalonia game. I'm in a business who want vex, who want say me a hype up baller, who wants say this, who wants say that. You see me try as best to be objective. Me not telling you something unless it not there yes so. If it not there yes so, if it not come from a real place, me not go tell you no. If me telling you say Maggie ball, that's because of some see the game. Me not go sit down here and give you no ulterior motives and agendas and that kind of thing. Me take this responsibility and this platform and this duty of care very seriously. Me realize me have a responsibility to be objective, to be fair, to be reasonable. Me not go sit down and tell you something when me not see, genuinely see. The youth ball. Crystal, me sorry for the cut you off. Sorry, Crystal. Me did
No,
ask you,
no need to
you,
apologize.
you probably forget what me did ask you. Me ask you who, who, basically who you're happy to see back in the team, or who you're happy to see that made it in the team, and what's your final thoughts on the squad?
I think I would echo what you said in terms of Tariq McGee. He has a certain elegance about him in terms of how he plays football in the center of the park for us. Kind of echoing what I've said about Tariq McGee is for me, what I'll be looking out for is to hopefully see that he hasn't allowed um yesteryear, and I'm talking about stuff that's happened at club level and stuff that's happened at international level under the previous gaffer to disrupt his attributes and his capabilities. We know the type of player that he is. We know what he brings to the table, and I'm hoping that he doesn't take his past forward into the future. I hope that he realized that Paul Hall has given him a clean slate and he grabs that opportunity with both hands and he consistently does so because that's the only way that he's going to become better. And hopefully, by becoming better, people will start to appreciate him a little bit more. Um, Happy to see Aaron's in the team because it's long overdue, just similar to what Formula has said. We've been waiting for this one to happen. Go admit, at some point, I just gave up hope. I was like, this one isn't going to happen, is it? But long overdue. I'm sure it's an absolute honor for him to wear his nation's colors, the famous black, green, and gold. Um, so I'm looking forward to seeing Aaron's in the team. Happy to see Nicholson back in the team as well because we all know what he's capable of at club level. Want to see more of that at international level. Formula, kindly remove that banner for me, please, so I can see the rest of the team. Thank you. Um, so yeah, McGee, Aaron's. Who else is a standout there for me? Uh, I think that is it at the moment. I think I'm growing a little bit tired of saying the reintroduction of Tyreek McGee. Hopefully, this will just be a permanent thing and he can cement himself into the national call up. Hopefully, he can just crack on and be a regular in the starting 11, not just be a call up in the 23 player squad, but hopefully he can just crack on and just make it a habit to always get a call up. What was the other part of your question?
Just your final thoughts on the squad.
Final
Just
thoughts on the
before you,
squad.
just 1 second, Chris. Just before you say that, Maggie is a very perplexing player because the youth now get no game in club, and I think that's one of the things that's hindering his ability to be given a reasonable amount of opportunities in the national team. But go through Crystal. But you cannot deny every time he play for the national team, he's one of our better players on the park. So me not understand it. But go through Crystal.
Um, I actually forgot the question that you asked me.
Jaja, all right, me chat too much, that's
No,
my
it's
problem.
let
I
me
ask you
try and think of
the
this by
final
myself.
the
Final thoughts, right?
final thoughts on the squad. Yeah.
Final thoughts of the squad. Just pretty much what we've said. It is somewhat unbalanced. Not really sure if the three additional players are going to even things out. But it is an unbalanced squad. But I can't speak for the guys in the comment section. I'm just going to do what's needed of me or what's required of me, and that's to try and be the ultimate 12 man as a content creator as well. Try to be responsible with my observation of what we're seeing with regards to player call ups and criticism of certain players, be it individuals or as a collective. Before I forget my manners, massive thank you to Formula for inviting me onto his channel. I feel like it's been a while since I've stopped by, so thank you for having me in mind. And the guys in the comment section, all the regulars, Wun Wun, I think I saw Eddie knocking about somewhere. J Ross, Hot Chili. Who are the regulars? Malik was there at some point. Not sure if he's still here. Mr. Mikey Ballin. I know I saw Mikey knocking about. So all the regular guys, big up yourselves in the comment
Mikey
section.
was in the chat.
Mr. Ballin, I'm pretty sure I saw Mr. Mikey Ballin
Never
knocking about
see.
in the comment
Never see.
section. If my eyes aren't fooling me, I'm certain I saw a glimpse of his name. But yeah, just big up to the regular guys in the comment section and to some of you who I'm not familiar with. I would attempt to pronounce your name, but I can't pronounce your name. I don't want to butcher your name. Travis, Wayne, all you guys, I hope that you have a lovely Friday evening and a wonderful weekend when it comes.
Hold on, because I always I'm always try to do this, and I always keep on forgetting. All right, guys, me drop the link to Crystal channel in the comment
You're far too
section.
kind. Thank you. I just realized it's been
So
a week.
for those of you who are not familiar, some of my subscribers who might not be familiar with Crystal channel, you guys can go over there and give a subscribe. Very good content. If it was not so, I would not have told you, and I'm always over there for a reason. Seeing, Shavan,
Thank you.
big up, boss, big up, Shavan. By the way, to answer the question, Miss May, I don't know if I can find it back, but about Maggie's hand situation, I mean, I don't, would they have put out the squad? Would they have put out the squad after the injury, the supposed or alleged injury would have taken place with Maggie? Well, a JFF you talk about still,
You've just answered your own question. This is what I'm saying. We don't
Yeah,
know
but
who does
yeah,
the
Jeff,
player.
yeah, them do some things more while you can't really wrap your head around.
Yeah, I don't know who does the players selection. So if it's JFF's and it's anyone's game really and truly. I've seen JFF call up players that's not even eligible to play, but they're
Yeah,
somehow in the 23 players squad
yeah,
announcement. So
yeah.
it's anyone's game,
Um,
isn't it?
yeah. I would like to think though that Maggie would be okay to play in the Nations League, given the
Yeah.
fact that his name has appeared on a match day squad after he would have received that alleged injury. But I have heard some, I can't verify or, conclusively say, but I have heard some rumblings that there seems to be an issue. I don't know how true it is. Right. So
And it's
take
just
that with
like I
a
said
grain
when
of
we was
salt.
chopping things up, Formula, that it looked like he was in some agony,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some
But
real
he didn't
discomfort.
he
Because
continue after?
I believe he was substituted off, if I'm not mistaken, because he fell on his wrist. So that's what everybody's
Yeah, yeah,
talking about. He
yeah.
fell on his wrist, and it looked pretty nasty to me.
Yeah, it really
Hopefully
did.
he's okay.
He really did. Shavan, we're close off the stream now, Me no know. You still want to jump on and say some final words because we are come to the end now. I just wanted to ask Crystal one quick question.
Mm-hmm.
The new recruits in the Catalonia game. Shavan, let me know because we're in the stream now, but let me know if you want to jump on and say something quickly about me no know the squad. All right, so we just want to ask Crystal this quickly. What what are your thoughts on the new recruits that would have featured in the Catalonia game? So Johnson Clark Harris, Omari Hutchinson, Jordan Cousins, Adai, and Latibodier.
That's a broad question. Ed Johnson, Clark Harris, of the names that you've named so far, he's the one that I've managed to see play live. And funny enough, I saw him play live against his compatriot at Queen's Park Rangers, Sir Andre Gray, some weeks
Mm-hmm.
back. And he was running riot on Queen's Park Rangers. If you give him the service, if you provide him with the appropriate service,
Yeah,
to do the job.
yeah,
That's
I
one thing I can
agree.
say about
He's a
Johnson.
quality striker. He's
Yeah,
a
in case you
quality
don't know
striker.
what Clark Harris is all about, like I
He's a
said, I've
quality,
seen
quality.
yeah, I've seen him play live with my own two eyes, different from when you're watching him on TV. So if you provide him with the appropriate service and not just some flimsy stuff or it's once in a blue moon repeated service, he will do the job for you. So and yeah, it's interesting. Hopefully we can get some paperwork sorted out with these guys and bring them into the national setup. So I'm sure that game outside of the result was invaluable for Paul Hall to see which players can fit into his missing puzzle. And Hutchinson, I don't think he needs an introduction. We all want to tie him down for obvious reasons. So hopefully we can get his paperwork over the line as well. And if you're playing for a club like Swansea that has a steady football history, why wouldn't we want you to play for um for the Jamaica national side? And obviously I'm not speaking about Hutchinson there. So yeah,
Latibodier.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a few positives there with debutants. Relieved to see Nico Brett finally get his opportunity.
Hmm.
Long overdue. I do feel sorry for him. You know,
Yes, yo, we forget about Nico Brett to Nico Brett. Now him debut in a senior team.
in the
In
season,
the catalog. Yeah, I think he's him
and it's
debut.
not even an official debut because it's just a friendly. So
Yeah, Jaja, me forget about Nico Brett too, Jaja.
yeah,
Sorry,
Nico
Nico.
Brett. I
Sorry.
mean,
Sorry,
he's
Nico.
he's done it at multiple levels over in the United Soccer League. And I say multiple levels in terms of the clubs that he's played for, gone on to
Hmm.
make a name for himself, a fan favorite for just about every club that he's played for in the USL Championship. So that's a man that I think is worthy of his call up. Long overdue. My only issue with that is perhaps it's too little too late because essentially how many cycles can we now get out of a Nico Brett? Right? And that is what
Yeah,
happens when you cut off your nose to spite your face. In the long run, you really do end up spiting yourself and not the player. So happy that Nico Brett's finally got himself into the senior national side, and hopefully that won't be the loss.
yeah. I didn't even. Sorry, Nico. I forget about him. I forget. Say, and truth be told, he came on in and him never do 3-3 bad in him. He did okay. It's only one chance he got where the ball fell on his left and him instead of take hitting it with the left, him decide to put it back on him right. And with that the chance had already gone. Him should have buried that man, honestly. But him never played badly. He played okay in the time that he was on the pitch. Yeah, I agree with your sentiments on Johnson Clark Harris. I think a lot of people look.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching
Yeah,
him play. I enjoyed watching him play, and I'm gonna see if I can get to more EFL games next season. Thankfully, like I
yo,
said,
yo,
pandemic has lifted and the
Crystal,
restriction has lifted. Yes, sir.
my bad mind Crystal. I can actually get to see them ball in a real life.
You shouldn't. It's not an easy. I told you,
No,
like
no,
when I go to games, I keep telling
Crystal, me
people
not
that
believe you. Me not believe
no,
you,
no.
Crystal.
Honestly, when I go to games, I'm like you have to remind yourself that I'm going there for work purpose.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like I'm
yeah,
going
yeah,
there to enjoy myself. I'm going there.
yeah, yeah.
I'm doing a match report at the end, so I have to keep my eyes on the game. I can't afford to be caught up in the moment because I'll end up writing foolishness, and then my editor will be like, "I'm not publishing that nonsense." Well, he wouldn't because he's a man of class, but yeah. I mean, when I go to the games, I'm not going there as a fan. Even when I went to watch the women's FA Cup final at Wembley, Bonnie Shaw versus Drew Spence. Even then, I enjoyed the occasion. But again, I was like, okay, I'm making notes and I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on here? Can't afford to miss nothing, but it's an interesting job.
Yeah. Now I agree with Johnson Clark with your take on Clark Harris. I think he's a real quality addition to the setup, even if not to start, but to have a player like that in your squad depth is just a blessing. I think that a lot of people look at his stats this season and say, "Oh, Clark Harris not good," but you have to remember
Opportunities.
that. Yeah, you have to remember that when you're playing for one of the worst teams in a league, he would have gotten a lot of a service and a lot of quality service in League One because Peterborough was one of the top teams in League One. But when they
Yeah,
get promoted to the championship, they're one of the worst teams in the championship. Hence, the amount of service and the quality of the service is not going to be sufficient enough in most cases to facilitate, 20 goal seasons.
yeah.
So, you know, and I watched some Peterborough games with Johnson Clark Harris. I mean, Virgin, if goal scoring service could have sustain a human being, Johnson Clark Harris would have starved to death, man. Big and serious. Like, let's be real. Peterborough never give the man nothing for work with. Like,
Mhm.
relatively speaking, him never get nothing for work with. Seeing, but I agree. And one of the things that I really love about Clark Harris is that he is very passionate about Jamaica. You saw it in his Instagram post. The man do a photo shoot, Crystal.
I know, I
The
saw.
man do a flipping photo shoot.
Those are the
Big
players that
and
we need in the
serious.
team, players who understand what it means to be Jamaican and play for Jamaica, what the culture is all about. I think if people want to have a glimpse of what um, Clark Harris is all about, perhaps watch the game against Queen's Park Rangers because he scored a variety of different types of goals. So you can kind of gain a little general
Yeah,
opinion as to what to get out of him. Like I said, I think if you give him the repeated service, he'll make something out of them. I don't think he's going to squander each and every service that comes or opportunity that comes his way.
yeah. Boy, one he is a hard man for pleasing a virgin. Yo, one's bar is so high. It boy, I mean, I know, I don't know. I think Omari Hutchinson did okay. He didn't do what I expected him to do. He did okay. He didn't do poorly, but he wasn't amazing either. He did okay, but we have to remember the young man is a young man, and yeah, it's a big moment for him, and probably him just need to relax and settle a bit. But to be fair to him, he played okay against a tough team, against a top quality team. He represented himself okay. It's not like he was out there and doing straight trash and was just atrocious. He was okay. Um, boy, Latibo there, I think, was the best out of all the defenders, but it kind of really hard for really grade him fairly, given all the commotion that was taking place around him, right? But you could see some quality there, especially on the ball. Adai, yo, I don't know how I feel about Adai now because all right, Adai did okay when he came on as a substitute, yes. But I've seen some club performances with Adai, and I'm not too impressed. For starters, is a goalkeeper that plays at a very low level, the Danish second division, and he's a bencher in the Danish second division. And yes, he's a relatively young goalkeeper, 24 years old, but he has, at 24 years old, he has played two handful worth of professional games in his entire career, and some of them games he makes some pretty serious errors. So I think he has potential to be a good goalkeeper though. But right now, Minnesota 100%. Him can deliver a moment of madness. Just like a Kepa Arrizabalaga, him have a moment of madness up him sleeve. Seeing so, in my humble opinion, we need a goalkeeper. We need a solid backup goalkeeper. And I have potential. Welcome him into the setup. We want to cap him same way. You never know what a player can become, right? And a decent talent, but he needs to eliminate some errors from him game. I will say this much about Adai though. His distribution is the strongest part of his game, right? His distribution is pretty okay. Is the best attribute that he has. Seeing and Jordan Cousins did okay as well. Showed some moments of quality, but I don't think he was. But not, Jordan Cousins did okay. He did. I'm not gonna say him do well, but he did okay. Right? As a CDM though, I would have liked to have seen him do a bit more on the defensive side of things though. Part of it was an error by Paul Hall, but I still think that I'd like to see him a little bit more involved. But he did okay, especially on the ball, right? And he's another player as well. A number of Jamaicans don't seem for rate, and I disagree with them. I think Jordan Cousins might not be the most technically pleasing player to watch, but I think that he's a quality player that can add some good squad depth to our ranks as well. So, guys, I think that's it from us here. Again, moral of the story: squad woefully unbalanced, all over the place. absolute rubbish. Paul Hall not picking this squad. I think we can. I don't know. We arrive at that conclusion, but I don't know. But it whoever is picking this squad, it all over the place, man. Seriously, it no in a balanced, and that is the first and main thing. Even with the three additional players, that squad in a balance. A lot of noticeable absentees as well. But hopefully, the boys can get it together in the Nations League, and we support the boys, and we back them to go to the Nations League and have a good tournament. Seeing so, with that being said, again, remember to give my fellow co-host Crystal a strength. Seeing told you I'd keep you under 2 hours. It's just over 2 hours now, so I'm not too far off. Yeah, so guys, smash the like button on your way out, free and easy way to support the channel. It was a good chat, much appreciated to all the commenters in the comment section. You guys had a very good spice and variety of life to the platform that the platform very much does appreciate. Seeing to all the silent watchers who, watch but don't type, big up on yourself same way. Again, you're not familiar with Crystal's channel, Talawa TV, go and subscribe, go and give her a strength. Big channel, big commentary, big analysis, big interviews, big everything. Seen? So with that being said, take care, guys. Stay safe. I think Coach's Desk is probably doing a stream right now as well. So you guys can give Coach a strength as well. So big up, guys, and stay safe.